It's tournament number 4 to be crossed off the calendar for 2011 after Malaysia, Korea and the All England. All the big names in all the big games, and they delivered a whole host of surprises and sizzling action, as you'd expect. This is the BWF Super Series. Welcome to our BWF Highlights show that is proud to be coming from the Siri Fort Stadium in New Delhi for the latest addition to the Super Series calendar for 2011. The Indian Open, which was previously a Grand Prix Gold event, has been upgraded to join the circuit for the next 3 years, and what a way to celebrate its new status, as there were 3 first-time Super Series winners over the 4 days of competition. The fans turned out in droves, and the only notable absence that paved the way for a whole new level of competition was the absence of some of China's big stars, Lin Dan and Bao Chunlai in the men's singles, Wang Shixian and Wang Yihan from the women's singles, Zhang and Zhao from mixed doubles, and Wang Zhaoli and Yu Yang in the women's doubles, to name but a few. All were away in Chengdu competing at the Asian Badminton Championships, but I'm sure they would have had one eye on New Delhi just to keep an eye on which of their rivals from Japan, Malaysia, Korea, Indonesia and Thailand managed to make it to final Sunday here in India for a chance to grab a share of the $200,000 prize money and, of course, the maximum amount of world ranking points that go along with the title. Of course, with the Chinese players out for this event, men's doubles Malaysian Open winners Chai Biao and Guo Zhengdong were not on hand to pick up another. As it turned out, the draw was very interesting indeed. Only 2 unseeded men's doubles pairs made the quarterfinals, both from Indonesia, Sugiarto Wirawan and Pratama Saputra, but only the latter made the semis along with top seeds Kien Ket and Boon Hyung, the 4th-seeded Hirokatsu Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata from Japan, and the 3rd-seeded Indonesians of Alvent Yulianto and Hendra Aprida Gunawan, who beat another Japanese pair to book their spot. In the semis, all eyes were on former world number 1s Koo Kien Ket and Tan Boon Hyung, who were looking to end their long wait for another title. The top seeds, who hadn't won an Open tournament since emerging champions in last year's Malaysian Open, faced 4th seeds Hirokatsu Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata, knowing that waiting for them in the final were Indonesia's Pratama and Saputra, who knocked out countrymen Yulianto and Gunawan. However, the Japanese duo had other ideas as they defeated the Commonwealth Games champions 21-16, 21-19.
It's gone wide. 3rd time lucky as far as the Japanese pair are concerned. Hirokatsu Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata have overcome the number 1 seeds Koo Kien Ket and Tan Boon Hyung in 2 straight games, 21-16, 21-19. So to the men's doubles, Hirokatsu Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata, the number 4 seeds from Japan. Rian Agun Saputra, the 20-year-old, and Angga Pratama, just 19 years of age. Both play at the Jaya Raya Club. So the unseeded youngsters from Indonesia, nearest to us. Well, they've been an absolute sensation this week here in Delhi. That's great play. Well, if you were with us yesterday, I was singing the praises of Hirata. I thought he was the man of the match as far as the semi-final against Kuantan were concerned. Oh, that's very sharp. He's a talented player, isn't he? Just enough pace on it there from Hirata. Make it awkward for his opponent. Only needed the one. 21-17 in just 13 minutes of play. Oh, that's landed in. Oof. Well, overruled from Mark Spate, the umpire. And I have to say, I'm very surprised at that. Incredibly surprised seeing that again. It was clearly in. Well, the umpire is allowed to overrule the line judge, and no doubt he was influenced by the gesturing of the Japanese players. But that's all academic now, because there's 13 match points to Hashimoto and Hirata. This time, third time of asking. And for Hirokatsu, Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata of Japan, the number 4 seeds, their first ever Super Series title. And they've won it in style. They disposed of the number 1 seeds yesterday, and today in the final, they've totally outclassed their young Indonesian opponents.
From Japan, the champions of this Super Series men's doubles event.
Japan's Hirokatsu Hashimoto and Noriyasu Hirata ended a successful 4 days at the India Open Super Series by claiming their country's first ever men's doubles crown at a BWF World Super Series event. Perhaps a seeded Indonesian pair would have put up stiffer resistance, but upon facing unheralded Indonesian pair Angga Pratama and Ryan Agung Saputra, Hashimoto and Noriyasu proved too good for the Giant Killers, who had a fantastic run through the week leading up to final Sunday, having defeated second-seeded teammates Muhammad Ahsan Bonaseptano, 6th seeds Naoki Kawami, Shojo Sato of Japan, and third-seeded compatriots Alvent Yulianto, Chandra and Hendra Aprida Gunawan in the semis. But even with those scalps under their belts, they were no match for Hashimoto and Noriyasu, who eventually won 21-17, 21-9 in just 26 minutes. Still to come on our BWF Highlight Show, in the absence of China, Malaysia, Japan and Korea were the countries to watch in the women's doubles. All the action, results and the title itself on the way in just a few minutes, so stick with us. You're back on our BWF Highlights show for 2011 at the newly introduced Indian Open Super Series from New Delhi, which saw an entirely different women's doubles event, as most of the world's best pairs from China were called away to participate in the Asian Badminton Championships, which simply paved the way for some new and old faces from a host of different countries to thrill the crowds packed to the rafters at the Siri Fort Stadium. With China's best in Chengdu, Japan had the most seeds in the women's draw, but of the 4 pairs, 2 made the quarters and then the semis. Number 1 and 2 seeds Miyuki Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna and Mizuki Fuji Reika Kakiwa. The other 2 semi-final spots were taken up by Hong Kong's Poon Lok Yan and Sei Ying Sweat and Indonesia's Johari and Polly, who both ended Malaysian dreams by beating Suk Chin Lu Yang and Ihui Peiti respectively. With the top two seeded pairs both from Japan in the semis, their fans were hoping for an ensured title for their country, and they got it as both made the final. In the other semi-final, Mizuki Fuji and Reika Kakiwa were given a tough time by Poon Lok-yan and Se Ying Sweat before coming through 21-17, 16-21, 21-16. While on this court, Maeda and Suetsuna beat Indonesia's Meliana Jahari and Gracia Polly convincingly in straight games, 25-23, 21-8.
12 match points now. It's a Japanese pair. Short. Yeah, first time of asking. The spirit was broken after that tight opening game. Second game, really rather academic for the #1 seeds, Miyuki Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna. 25-23, 21-8. #1 seeds, world ranking of 3, and as you can see, positive win-loss record for the year. So to the #2 seeds, world ranking of 4 at the moment, having played 13 tournaments towards that world ranking. Mizuki Fuji and Reika Kakiwa.
Miyuki Maeda to serve to Miyuki Fuji, level, play.
So the #1 seeds, there they are in the darker kit. #2 seeds with the red shirts nearest to us. And as far as the #2 seeds are concerned, Mizuki Fuji and Reika Kakiwa. Actually looking at the #1 seeds at the moment, but the #2 seeds, the finalists at the All England Championships, the last Super Series event prior to this. The Australian Grand Prix event, they were the #1 seeds. They lost in the quarter-final to the Malaysian pair of Chin Wei and Wong Pei-Ti. Wong Pei-Ti making her comeback after a serious knee injury and surgery. It's gone wide and on a run of 3 straight points. Finally, on their 4th opportunity, having saved 2 game points, the #1 seeds, Miyuki Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna, close out the opening game. Oh, it was a good drop shot. So too was that. Yeah, once again feeling the shoulder. Fuji. Now that error means that the #1 seeds, Miyuki Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna, have 5 match points. Oh, that was a good shot. And they convert. An hour and 10 minutes to win in 2 straight games for the #1 seeds, Miyuki, Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna. They came here as #1 seeds and they've justified that seeding position. They are the champions.
So, from an all-Japanese final, Miyuki, Maeda, Satoko, Suetsuna returned to the winner's circle for the first time since winning the Denmark Open exactly 6 months ago when they won the India Open Super Series in New Delhi. The top seeds, who had a first-round bye, won all their matches in straight games en route to the final, where their teamwork, spirit and technique allowed them to edge their compatriots Mizuki Fuji and Reika Kakiwa 26-24, 21-15. After a 15-week spell as world #2s in 2010, the Japanese pair would have been delighted to pick up the maximum amount of world ranking points at this event, and of course a second title in a year to also add to their top spot earned at last year's Uber Cup finals in Kuala Lumpur. Don't go anywhere. Still to come on this BWF Highlights show, the mixed doubles event produced a dream run for an unheralded pair at the Siri Fort Stadium in New Delhi, but the Giant Killers would need to beat the best from Indonesia. Find out what happened in just a bit. This is the BWF Highlights show for 2011, and before we get to the main event, the men's singles final, we check in with the mixed doubles tournament that again saw a top seed falling early. This time it was Thailand's Sudket and Sarali who fell at the second round to Japan's Sato and Matsuo, and more heartbreak for the home fans as the 6-seeded Diju and Jwala conceded a walkover to their teammates Sanyal and Polovarapu, but one country would be happy. After being denied a semi-final spot in the women's doubles, Malaysia earned their first last 4 spot in New Delhi when Chan Peng Sun and Goh Liu Ying, who showed no nerves, sunk Thailand's Songphon and Kunchala in straight games 21-13, 21-16 in just 24 minutes. The other 3 spots were all Indonesian. 4th-seeded Ahmad and Natsir, 3rd seeds Kurniawan and Bernadette, and 7th-seeded Rijal and Susanto. The highest of those Indonesian-seeded pairs, Kurniawan and Bernadette, would provide the highlight of the semi-finals, taking on Peng Sun and Liu Ying of Malaysia. They would fight for the gold medal at the India Super Series in an all-Indonesian final after Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir were handed a walkover in their semi, another all-Indonesian affair against Muhammad Rijal and Debbie Susanto, who dropped their opening game and then were forced to retire after Rijal suffered a muscle spasm. No such problems for Fran and Pia, who, in exceptional form, beat Chan and Go 21-12, 21-16.
On their first opportunity, 21-12, 21-16. And it will indeed be an all-Indonesian mixed doubles final tomorrow. Their confirmation of the score, 34 minutes of play, 21-12, 21-16. Well, the first of those finals, it is all Indonesia affair. The number 4 seeds, Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir of Indonesia, up against the number 3 seeds, Fran Kurniawan and Pia Zebedia Bernadette. So the number 3 seeds in the all-black kit, Fran Kurniawan and Pia Zebedia Bernadette, up against the pair they've never beaten, Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir.
1-0.
All doubles events in badminton very much about the attacking play, getting the shuttle going in a downward direction. Doesn't all have to be hard and fast and furious. As long as you're placing the shuttle in a downward direction, that's what you're trying to achieve. In fact, the change of pace is often very effective. And that's perhaps a prime example where he should have just taken the pace out of the shuttle, because in trying to smash across court. And now it is 2 game points for Ahmad and Natsir. Take it, first time of asking. And once again, a little word of encouragement from Liliyana Natsir. Well, they did well to keep their concentration, did Kuniawan and Bernadette. Brilliantly saved. Second match point. And indeed, a third match point has been saved. What a rally. Unbelievable. The crowd are on their feet. Somehow got back into the rally. And this time they convert. 43 minutes of play. And it wasn't that they were nervous on their initial 3 match points. It was the fact that Fran Kuniawan and Pierre Zebedier Bernadette were absolutely superb in saving those 3 match points. But having got back level, having had a game point themselves, in the end it was the control of Liliyana Natsir, especially vastly experienced Olympic silver medalist, twice world champion in mixed doubles, saw her young partner through to their first ever Super Series title. Just enjoy the special moments of that mixed doubles final.
Maybe it was the walkover at the semi-final stage that helped them by perhaps being a little fresher, or maybe it was just a burst of total concentration, but by mixing up their play wonderfully, the lower-ranked Indonesian pair pushed their teammates to all 4 corners of the court and held their advantage in a thrilling second game to win it 21-18, 23-21. Either way, it gave Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir their first ever India Open Super Series mixed doubles crown and their first ever BWF World Super Series crown as a partnership. They're also the first Indonesians to win a Super Series mixed doubles title since Liliyana and former partner Nova Widianto won the 2009 French Open. On the way, the India Open was all about fallen seeds in the women's singles draw, with the biggest and best falling first. Find out who stayed on course and made it to final Sunday in just a bit. Welcome back to our BWF Highlights show, where we check in with the women's singles draw. No Shisian, Yihan or Jin, of course, due to the coinciding Asian Badminton Championships, which meant the home fans were hoping for their own Sainya Nehwal to conquer all, being the only non-Chinese player in the world's top 7, but they wouldn't see it as she was shockingly ousted from the first round by Japan's Ai Goto. With the loss of Sainya Nehwal and second seed Tina Bon, the real story came from Thailand's Porntip Buranaprasertsuk, who scalped All England runner-up Erika Hurosa in the second round before beating Singapore's Gu Juan in straight games to reach the semis. The highest seed to make the semis was 20-year-old Bae Yun-ju from South Korea, with the final places taken up by Japan's Sayaka Sato and Hong Kong's Yip Hui-yin. And it was Porntip who was the most impressive in the semi-finals, as the up-and-coming Thai sensation continued her giant killing ways when she thrashed fifth-seeded Yip Hui-yin of Hong Kong 21-13, 21-8 in only 29 minutes, showing complete control of both the front and back courts over the world number 16. In a very young Super Series final, she would face Korean Bae Yun-ju, who, having lost 2 Super Series finals in recent months, was hoping for it to be third time lucky when she beat Japan's Sayaka Sato in 3 to make the final.
She's a world-class player. She's been outclassed today. Another error from the player from Hong Kong. And Porntip Buranaprasertsuk of Thailand is through to her first ever Super Series tournament final. And she's done it in style. 21-13, 21-8. So the court officials invited onto court, as indeed is Porntip Buranaprasertsuk, appearing in her first ever Super Series final. And her opponent, the left-hander, just 20 years of age, Bae Yun-ju, number 3 seed, and she too has been a silver medalist at the World Junior Championship. Introductions from Lu Fusan of Malaysia, the umpire, and play gets underway. Oh, that's nice. Good angle. That is brilliant. Oh, it's just extraordinary. She's got such a lovely, relaxed hitting style, has Porntip. Creates angles where you don't believe angles are possible. Oh, good control. Yeah, first time of asking. And the opening game to the unseeded player against the number 3 seed from Korea. Fantastic, my goodness, lunging forward to kill that shuttle. That took real courage. Had to be very careful she didn't play a fault. key to Porntip's success here is getting the shuttle behind her opponent, then hunting the shuttle at the nets. That's a good one. Oh, she's hit it wide once again. Porntip managing to get the shuttle over the head of Bae Young-ju, playing her into trouble. That's the one. Look, she's taking it way behind her, taking it too late. That's why she made the error. Oh, good angle. And that's gone long, and the second time of asking. And the 19-year-old Porntip Buranaprasertsuk from Thailand has taken her first ever Super Series title in her first ever Super Series tournament final.
An unbelievable run of play for the young Thai girl, who deservedly created history when she became the first female player from her country to win a singles crown at a BWF World Super Series event. Still just 20 years old, Buranaprasertsuk impressed her peers and the fans in New Delhi with her calm and consistent performances, as again she displayed no nerves coming up against third-seeded Bae Young-ju, who, like Porntip, entered Sunday's final in search of an elusive gold medal from a Super Series event. Some may say that if the Chinese contingent had made it to Delhi, things may have been different, but their absence has shown the badminton fraternity that there is new blood coming through. In the end, Young-ju, who has lost 2 Super Series finals in recent times, suffered a heartbreaking loss when she was defeated 21-13, 21-16 in just 31 minutes. Just around the corner on our BWF Highlights show, with Lin Dan absent, Chong Wei would have another nemesis to look out for in New Delhi. But who would it be? We have the men's singles coming right up, so stay with us. You're back with us on our BWF Highlights show for 2011 with the men's singles tournament that caused early headlines as former Asian champion Sony Dwi-Kunchuro was ousted at the first hurdle by Indian qualifier Surabh Verma 21-18, 21-19 in 41 minutes. Surabh would then also take out Japan's Kenichi Tago in the following round. So, a good showing by Indian shuttlers Verma and Dutt made sure the home fans were happy up till the quarterfinals, where both their runs were ended by world number 1 Chong Wei and Hong Kong's Yoon Hoo. They would make up one semi-final, while the other would be contested by Denmark's Peter Gade and South Korea's 6-seeded Park Sung-hwan, who got the better of Maeda and Hidayat, both in straight games. As expected, Chong Wei breezed into the title showcase with a comprehensive 21-11, 21-15 victory over the 8-seeded Yoon Hoo. His opponent came from this match between the veteran Peter Gade and Park Sung-hwan. Gade had already had a long and arduous tournament, having saved match points against him as early as the second round, so he knew he had to be at his best against the ever-dangerous Sung-hwan. And after some minor scares, he duly delivered to score a convincing 21-15, 21-19 victory in a little over 45 minutes.
Brilliantly saved. Well, I said he was a fighter. And that's gone long. And Peter Gade is through to the final. The veteran from Aalborg in Denmark. Absolutely delighted with that, and rightly so. 44 minutes of play for the 21-15, 21-19 victory.
This match,
There he is, the 28-year-old from Penang. He's been world #1 since September 2008. And he's up against a former world #1, 34-year-old Peter Horguera, the 5-time and reigning European champion. So Lee Chong Wei, the Malaysian, nearest to us, #1 seed against the #3 seed Peter Gader from Denmark. This is actually the 3rd time that they're meeting this year. Last time was in the final of the Super Series finals staged in January. But they'd also met in the group stage of that same competition. Last time that the Dane actually beat the Malaysian, he had to go back to the final of the Korean Open in 2009. Pressurising that deep forehand corner, isn't he? Obvious tactic there from Peter Gader. You're not going to wear him down. Oh, that's delightful. Oh, that's incredible again. Goodness me. Oh! Oh, yes, he really has developed this new dimension, has Lee Chong Wei. When he was an up-and-coming player, I, for one, was critical that he really was a reactive player rather than proactive. Phenomenal. Good lift. Missed it. Fraction wide. And that's the opening game to Lee Chong Wei. Oh, how did he get that back? Oh, oh, that's delightful. Two men with enormous respect for each other, good friends off the court. And that was obvious from that rally. The little smile, the little apology. Well, the last couple of rallies really have demonstrated how important it is, the tight spinning net shot in men's singles. Get to the net early, you can force the short lift, as happened there. Tight spinning net shot, you can't get the shuttle to the back of the court, and an easy opportunity for Gader to then play the winning smash. That's gone wide. Eight game points now for Peter Gaeta to level this men's singles final at 1 game apiece. He's done it. Well, I said in the opening game that this man from Malaysia had been oozing confidence all week. And I think that confidence is beginning to drain from his body. 1 or 2 signs that perhaps a little anxious now, feeling the pressure. Unforced error like that. Unless he recaptures the form that he showed in the opening game, he's going to have problems winning this final. That's delightful from the Dane. 5 straight points. Make that 6 straight points for Lee Chong Wei. Oh, that is phenomenal. But that's too good from Lee Chong Wei. 2 points away now from his 4th title of the year. Once again, forced to play the high backhand, Gaeta, and once again, he was in trouble. Defiant till the end, Peter Gaeta. Oh my goodness! What a final rally! What a magnificent final! Sport is such a delight to watch. When you see 2 exponents of the game like this, 2 gentlemen on court, 2 players with huge respect for each other. But for Lee Chong Wei, yet another title for the world #1. His 4th title of the year.
Thank you, Makanji.
Even though Gade covered every inch of the court in search of his first BWF World Super Series win in 2 years, it was simply out of reach. Another sublime performance from the world #1, who won the Commonwealth Games gold medal in the same city last year after experiencing 2 heartbreaks in India in 2009. He suffered food poisoning when the India Open was not yet classified a Super Series tournament in that year and was knocked out by China's Chen Long in the opening round. Chong Wei was then defeated by Sony in the quarterfinals of the World Championships in Hyderabad. But all that was erased away when the Malaysian captured his 18th Super Series title, though it took an uncharacteristic 3 tough games in New Delhi to win his first India Open crown. It was also Chong Wei's 12th victory in 13 meetings against the Dane in Open tournaments. Chong Wei's victory also strengthened his position at the top of the world rankings, while Gade will hope his run to the final will keep him in the top 5 of those world rankings. So for the first India Open Super Series, the winners list will be remembered as follows. Lee Chong Wei with another win in the men's singles for 2011 and his first Indian Open crown. Thailand's Porntip Buranaprasertsuk with a historic first title for Thailand in the women's singles. While it was double celebration for Japan as Miyuki, Maeda and Satoko Suetsuna grabbed their second Super Series title in the mixed doubles, and Hashimoto Hirata took the men's doubles, leaving the mixed crown to Ahmad and Natsir of Indonesia. Still plenty of action left in this year's Super Series calendar as we reach the 1/3 mark of this year's competition. After this, the 4th tournament in the lineup. Next up, the Singapore Open, and then the second biggest prize purse after the Korean Open, $600,000 on offer at the next Super Series premier event to be held in Indonesia. Of course, all the players will be looking to amass as many world ranking points before the end of season finals, which means you can bet they will be front and center at the China Masters and the Japanese, Danish and French Super Series. Then at the Hong Kong and China Open Premier events before the prestigious season finale, which in itself will offer $500,000 in prize money. Plenty to come, so don't miss any of them and catch all the action that's on the way on your BWF Highlights Show 2011. For now, goodbye.